We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
This is harassment. This is election interference.
Former President Trump responded for the first time Thursday night to 3 new charges, adding to his unprecedented legal peril. A 60-page superseding indictment from a federal grand jury in Florida accuses Trump of conspiring to pressure a Mar-a-Lago employee to delete security camera footage.
I'm protected by the Presidential Records Act.
Look at that hair.
Totally. It shouldn't even be a case.
There is also a new alleged violation of the Espionage Act, charging Trump showed an Iran war plan to several people without security clearances back in July of 2021 in Bedminster, New Jersey. According to the indictment, a recording obtained by CBS News captured a conversation Trump had with 2 staffers, a book writer and a publisher.
Let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know. Mm-hmm. Except it is like highly confidential secret.
The audio recording appears to contradict Trump's claims last month.
I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles.
Trump has repeatedly insisted he declassified all the documents he took with him.
Everything.
But in the recording,
As president, I could have declassified.
Yeah.
No, I can't, you know, but this is classified.
This case just got a lot stronger.
Special Counsel Jack Smith is also charging Mar-a-Lago property manager Carlos de Oliveira. According to the indictment, de Oliveira spoke with the former president the day after investigators subpoenaed security camera video and told a Mar-a-Lago employee, quote, the boss wanted security video deleted. This comes after Trump valet and aide Walt Nauta pled not guilty to obstruction and a host of other charges for allegedly moving boxes at Mar-a-Lago, illegally withholding documents, and making false statements.
Evidence of obstruction of justice is like putting a piece of dynamite in front of the jury. It is devastating evidence. I think there's another problem if you're in President Trump's shoes. You've got to be concerned now with this third defendant.
A lawyer for de Oliveira declined to comment. Meanwhile, Trump's legal trouble might not end here. A grand jury at the courthouse behind us is meeting to consider whether to bring forward charges against Trump for his role in an alleged plot to overturn the 2020 election.
Oh, good God. All right, everybody. So I'm sure everybody in this audience is very, very well aware that the superseding indictment, which simply means the replacement, the original indictment has been replaced with this indictment that has more counts and more people charged in it than the last one. We're learning like new names of new employees. And it seems like, listen, Rick Wilson from the Lincoln Project, he got it so right so early when he said everything Donald Trump touches dies. Everything he touches dies, from his top lawyers to the lowest ranking, valet on his property. Right now, we got a property manager, Mr. Oliveri, who's also charged with, obstruction of justice, lying to the FBI, trying to, remove the surveillance cameras. I mean, it's so sick and sad, and it's never, ever, ever going to stop because it's Donald Trump's story. And he has never done anything above board. He never will. He doesn't know how. His entire existence is about scamming and defrauding and cheating and manipulating and now delaying. This is it. This is what is. So, in case you're not sure about what happened yesterday, this is real brief, okay? So when the FBI went to Magaloco, it was June 3rd of 2022. It was a Friday. They went to Magaloco, and they were looking for the documents that had the classification markings on them. And they noticed while they were there, being the FBI and all, that there were surveillance cameras everywhere around Magaloco. And so, 3 weeks later, June 22nd, They subpoenaed the surveillance video. They subpoenaed the servers. Servers, everybody. Remember Hillary Clinton? He wanted to lock her up because she bleach bit her servers or some crap like that. Okay, so they subpoenaed the servers, the surveillance video servers. And the next day, June 23rd, Donald Trump calls his property manager, Mr. De Oliveira, who's the new one that's charged. Is it, meet the new character in the new HBO Max Trump it's going to be. It's going to be a series. It is.
I can only hope HBO gets its hands on it. Please, HBO, please. Of course.
HBO or Netflix or, Apple TV. They have to all be like looking at scripts and all be arguing over, who gets the rights. I mean, this is going to be the most watched thing in the world after, Trump loses.
Now you got me thinking about who's going to play Trump.
Oh, good God. I mean, for my money, it's always, it's always the same guy. It's always, what's his name? Bateman.
Christian Bale, you think he could pull?
Christian Bale.
He did Chaney.
Jason Bateman.
Remember, he gained all that weight to play Dick?
Yeah, that wasn't good, though.
You didn't like that?
I mean, the makeup was good and the character, was good, but the movie was like, I don't know. They made George W. like so stupid, and it's like even I didn't believe he was that dumb. Anyway, we digress. So let's go through the timeline. So June 3rd, they see the surveillance cameras. Okay, 3 weeks later, the Department of Justice emails an attorney for Donald Trump and says, you know what? We're getting ready to subpoena the surveillance video from the cameras in Magaloco. The very next day, the 23rd of June, Trump actually calls the property manager, Mr. De Oliveira. They speak on the phone for 24 minutes. That is a long phone call, okay? And obviously, they were plotting and planning and scheming like how they would get the cameras out of there, what they would do with the footage, how many hours of footage, how long do they retain the footage for, how do you bleach bit a server, how do you wipe a server, whatever it is they wanted to do. The next day was another Friday, June 24th. The DOJ calls Trump's business organization for the final grand jury subpoena, and that required production of any and all surveillance records, videos, images, photographs, or closed caption TV at certain locations at Magaloco, including the ground floor basement. Okay. That same day, a Trump attorney actually leaves a message and says to an employee at Magaloco, this is employee number 3, that Trump wants to see Walter Nauta. Could Walter go see Donald Trump? Okay. So Walter Nauta is in New Jersey with Trump, that he's supposed to go with Trump to Illinois or some such crap. I'm not sure exactly where they were headed. But anyway, Walter Nauta cancels his plan to go with Donald Trump and instead makes plans to go down to Magaloco. He isn't going to be getting Donald Trump Diet Cokes. Instead, he's going to be, down there covering up crimes. Okay. So now all of a sudden, on June 24th, as Nauta was making his travel plans to go to Florida, he calls this guy De Oliveira, and he says to De Oliveira, apparently, go to the IT guy, the guy that actually controls all the video cameras and the guy that sees the surveillance tape, and ask him, how long do we keep the tape for? How much tape is on there? How many days do we keep it? And could he wipe it? Well, the IT guy, his name is Tavares, okay? He's called employee number 4 in this indictment, but his name is Tavares. So Mr. Tavares says to Walt Nauta, I don't think that's right. I don't think I have the right to do that, and I don't think I can do that. I don't think I will do that. Whoops. It's very interesting that Mr. Tavares is not charged in this superseding indictment, and Mr. Oliveira is. Walt Nauta is. Donald Trump is. So that's kind of what they added. They added new crimes and also charged this Oliveira guy with all those crimes and lying to the FBI.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Well, with Millie, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him. Wow. We looked at some. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know. Mm-hmm. Except it is like highly confidential. Yeah. By the way, isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
I was just saying, because we were talking about it. And he said he wanted to attack Iran and what? These are the papers.
It's pretty
This was done by the military, given to me. I think we can probably, right?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to figure out a yeah.
See, as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, you know, but this is
now we have a problem.
Okay, so there was an issue. There was an issue about whether or not Donald Trump was showing, and those were, you know, the people in that room, two of them were covering Mark Meadows' memoir, remember? And they went to visit Donald Trump in order to get some background information for the ghostwriters to help Mark Meadows, craft his autobiography. So those were the women that were in the room. And another one of the women that were in the room that day was the leader of the Donald Trump super PAC, which ended up paying all these lawyers, just like mob bosses, take care of your legal fees over there. And you know what he sounds like in that video? I keep it. So anyway, let me just finish this thought. So that videotape, that audio tape was challenged by Bret Baier at Fox News. He said, are you really showing these people who have no security clearance? Obviously, they're writing a memoir. They're ghostwriting, Mark Meadows' autobiography. And the other one is like the leader of your super PAC. They obviously have no security clearances at all. Why are you showing them battle plans for Iran that General Milley created and you requested be delivered to you? Are you really showing them battle plans with maps and everything else about how we would attack Iran? And he said, no. There were no papers. There was like newspapers. There was a pile of garbage.
According to the indictment, you were here at Bedminster on July 21st, 2021, after you're no longer president, and you were recorded saying that you had a document detailing a plan of attack on another country that was prepared by the U.S. military for you when you were president, the Iran attack plan. You remember that?
Ready?
You were recorded.
It wasn't a document.
Okay.
I had lots of paper. I had copies of newspaper articles. I had copies of magazines.
I know. This is specifically a quote. You're quoted on the recording saying the document was secret, adding that you could have declassified it while you were president, but, quote, now I can't. This is still secret, highly confidential. And the indictment cites the recording and the testimony from people in the room saying you showed it to people there that day. So you say on this on tape,
it says just the opposite,
that you can't declassify it. So why have it?
When I said that I couldn't declassify it now, that's because I wasn't president. I never made any bones about that. When I'm not president, I can't declassify.
And that's what you said. You didn't declassify it.
I said no. I said I couldn't.
But that
wasn't a document, Brett. There was no document. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things. And it may have been held up or may not, but that was not a document. I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles.
I'm just saying what the indictment says.
Well,
the recording and the people in the room who testified.
These people are very dishonest people. They're thugs. They're thugs. If you look at what they've done to other people, what they've done to and overturned in the U.S. Supreme Court, these are thugs.
The suggestion was that you wanted this as evidence that the military, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Milley, had preemptively sent you plans for a possible attack on Iran and that you didn't order that to happen. That's the suggestion.
I never ordered it to happen, no.
But that's why you wanted the document.
I don't think I've ever seen a document from Milley. Milley, frankly, was incompetent. The last one I'd want to attack with as my leader would be Milley.
That's what I want to attack with. Listen, so the people in the room actually have testified. And now he's got big problems. The other thing that we found out yesterday through the superseding indictment, the one that replaced the one that Bret Baier was reading from, is that the government of the United States of America, Jack Smith specifically, has the document. He has it. And it is an Iran battle plan. It is. And they've had it ever since they retrieved documents from Magalocco. Okay? And the people in the room were asked whether or not this was the document that Donald Trump was waving around that day. And they've now testified, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Authenticating the classified top secret battle plan for the attack on Iran that Donald Trump requested Mark Milley create and deliver to him. And that is dissemination of classified material. And that was not in the original indictment. What was in the original indictment was concealing, destroying, mutilating documents. What was in the first indictment was inducing somebody else to do that, and also, lying about doing that. But now in this particular superseding indictment, not only are more people involved in the conspiracy that he induced to do law breaking, not only are more people in the conspiracy that were induced to lie to the FBI, but also disseminating the information that he had in his possession. And that, under the Espionage Act, will put him in jail for the rest of his life if he ever goes to trial. God, I want to curse so bad because this man is dangerous. And he's running for president, again, not because he cares about you or he cares about the people that support him or he cares about the well-being of the blue-collar man, who, by the way, is doing very well in Joe Biden's economy. Bidenomics is working, and it's being criticized, by the way, by guys like Larry Summers, who are saying it's a very manufacturing, nationalistic, because we have Made in America, and we're actually insisting that when we rebuild America, we use things that we can source from America. Larry Summers is sitting there criticizing this, going, it's very nationalistic, this manufacturing plan of Biden's, and I don't think it's good for trade, and I don't think, whatever. Okay, so obviously Donald Trump doesn't give a rat's ass about MAGA or about blue-collar workers or manufacturing workers or people that build, cars or EVs now or batteries or charging. He couldn't care less. He's running for president so he can stay out of jail. Totally. He is playing the little sliver of crazy people that are still supporting him in this country. He's playing them like fiddles. He is a mob boss. There's just no question. And the idea that this is a conspiracy now and it just keeps growing and growing and growing, and that everyone who's involved in the conspiracy, he's provided with an attorney. How mafia can you get? Oh!
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Oh, everybody, it's $5 Friday, you bastards. $5 Friday. So if you want to support independent media like Free Speech TV, you can do that today by pledging $5 and pledging that you will give $5 every single month, a recurring donation, until you say stop, and then we'll stop. Okay, it's just that simple. And in exchange to the first, 50 people that do this, we'll get you a mystery box. I don't know what's in it, but to thank you for starting a new $5 recurring pledge, we will send you a mystery box. Now, if you are already a donor and you want a mystery box, you can increase your current donation by $5, hence $5 Friday. And we'll send you a mystery box if you're one of the first 50 people that do it by calling 877-378-8669. That is the phone number for Denver, Colorado, 877-378-8669. You can donate online at freespeech.org. or text to 44321, the letters FSTV. We'll send you a secure link on your phone, and then you can do a $5 recurring. So thank you very much. I hope you're fast. I hope you get your mystery box, and then call me and tell me what was in it, because I really have no earthly idea. All right, Gary in Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Randi.
Hey.
Excuse me if I'm talking a little slow today.
What happened?
Oh, well, I had to self-medicate. We have a group of my wife's MAGA Christo-fascist relatives coming over for dinner, and I simply can't handle it, you know.
And what did you choose?
I choose the natural route.
Oh, the marijuana? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All
yeah.
Right. Okay.
So anyway, as an average American citizen that's not exactly a glass half full kind of person most of the time, after this news that Trump tried to pull a Nixon, meaning erasing evidence of a crime, just like he told his secretary to do, I now feel confident that I'm over the edge in feeling that he's going to jail. A preponderance of evidence has made me feel this way, and it feels wonderful.
I think it's the marijuana, Gary, because I can't even imagine like when the trial will be. You know, this.
Oh well, okay. I felt that way before the marijuana. Okay, so that's not the marijuana. However, I am a little worried too that it's never going to go to trial. And let me ask you this question: do you think that these threats that he's making, that if he does go to trial and gets charged and found guilty, et cetera, that it's going to be very dangerous for the country?
No.
Good. You don't think it'll be another January 6th?
I mean, January 6th was January 6th, and it was, ugly, and a lot of police officers got, beaten and, pepper sprayed and, bear sprayed or whatever, and were hurt, and, 4 of them committed suicide because it looked like medieval combat to them, and it was just beyond the pale. So, another January 6th, maybe, but, dangerous for the country, no.
Good. I'm glad I told Julie today that you've never been wrong.
Aww.
And that's why I had to listen to you today to hear your perspective. And she also told me that you're banned from the television when the doorbell rings.
What does that mean?
Well, they couldn't handle hearing you. Just like if it was CNN or MSNBC, you kidding me? They would freak out.
Like when people stop by the house, they got to put you on pause.
Like you can't be on the tube when they come,
I got you.
Got to censor Randi Rhodes today.
Yeah, I mean, probably a good idea. Probably safe. Yeah.
All right, Randy. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy your in-laws.
I am. Oh, okay. So long.
Bye.
It's kind of funny Gary mentioned that, because I swear to you, Randy, in my life, I have the opposite effect. All the conservatives in my life, family, friends, whoever, when I come over, Fox News goes right on loud. Whether we're conversating, dinner, it goes right on.
Conversating? Do you say that?
Conversing.
Yeah. Do you say conversating? Is that a thing with you? It's like orientated. Orientated irritates me too. Orientated and conversating. Yeah, because they're not real words.
And I would have powered right through that had you not poked.
So anyway, this is the problem. The problem is that the trial was slated for, remember, Judge Trumpy? She said, all right, I'll meet you halfway. You want the trial now, and they want the trial never. We'll do it in May. That's when we'll do the trial. We'll do the trial in May. Now, the talking heads, the legal, TV lawyers are saying because there's new evidence and because there's new people charged and because there are new charges, that it will delay the trial further than May. Well, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. That was 6 months ahead of the actual election. If it's delayed past May of 2024, what are we going to have it during the summer before the election? Oh, no. Listen, the Trump lawyers, they would be correct in saying, we object, Your Honor, because Donald Trump is on the ballot, and this seems like you're trying to denigrate him, a la Hillary Clinton, which is what, James Comey ended up doing to Hillary, right? But it wasn't James Comey that did it. It was the New York field office of the FBI that did it. So interesting, right? That would probably be delayed till after the election. So here's where we are, Gary. You want to know what needs to happen now in order to actually get him on trial sometime in the summer of 2024 without interfering in a United States election for president? He has to lose the primary. Hello? Yeah, Brett's in there clapping. Because, I don't know why people won't say this to you. I guess it stops the horse race. It makes you think. Can't have that. But yeah, he has to lose the primary. And one of the ways that that can happen is, I don't know, like I live in Florida where there's a closed primary deal where if you're not a Republican registered, you can't vote in the Republican presidential primary to select the candidate to be at the top of the ticket for the Republicans. So I'm thinking, because that's what I do, that I have to now register as a Republican so that I can go and have my say in the Republican primary. And since Joe Biden is likely to be the Democratic nominee for the Democratic Party, and I have no problem with it, yes, he's, a little older than, most of us would like to see in a president, perhaps, but he's extremely capable. He's extremely competent. He has gotten more done for the American people. The economy, usually you don't give a president any credit or deridement for a bad economy. You don't do that because the president doesn't usually have much to do with the economic, scenario. That's usually a function of Congress. But in this case, because Joe Biden shepherded through Congress things like the Inflation Reduction Act, because he cared about the infrastructure projects and shepherded through in a bipartisan fashion an infrastructure package, he is responsible for the good economy that we have. You see how that goes. And so I feel pretty confident that he will be the Democratic nominee for the presidency, and I don't have an issue with that. But I know that Donald Trump cannot be the Republican nominee because if he is, there will never be a trial, and this man is guilty of espionage. You understand? And the January 6th charges, that hasn't even been slated for trial yet, and that is insurrection.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
This is a major breakthrough in this case. And just to refresh our viewers' memories, there is an incident charged in the initial indictment and charged again in this new indictment where Donald Trump is showing people with no security clearance after he's left the White House, people who are writing a book about Mark Meadows. He's ruffling documents and telling them to look at this. He says, I could have declassified when I was in office, but I didn't. And there had been some question, as Caitlin just laid out, about whether there was an actual classified document he was showing or whether he was just puffing or exaggerating. And as Caitlin said, Donald Trump's representative said it was the latter. Now we know that's not true. Now we know the document Donald Trump was showing these people with zero security clearance was an actual highly classified document that had to do with war plans. And we know DOJ has that document. They've now added a charge against Donald Trump. And why this is so important is because this is the one incident in the whole indictment where Donald Trump most flagrantly disseminates the information, where it's not just sitting in boxes in his bathroom or on the stage at Mar-a-Lago, which is bad, which is potentially criminal, but it's the one most flagrant incident where he's taking that information and giving it out to somebody. And that's why it's such an important and dangerous moment in this case.
And if he would show battle plans for Iran with maps and everything that is top secret to, ghostwriters who he hardly knows, who came to visit him to get some background on Mark Meadows as they craft his autobiography, which is a total farce in and of itself, but not illegal, and the head of his super PAC, battle plans for Iraq. What do you think he gave the Saudis? What do you think, the Saudis were willing to pay $2 billion for? I mean, honest to God, man, this is disgusting. This is disgraceful. This is hideous. And, the idea that he absolutely, positively, 100% cannot be the Republican nominee because it will actually be used by him, the nomination will be used by him to delay a trial of him and blame Biden for the man is constantly the victim here. I mean, he is totally enriching himself on the national security of the United States, on things that people, hang out in dark alleys in third world countries, material and information that they do risk their lives to get so that we can protect ourselves from adversaries. And he is literally showing it to any, Tom, Dick, or Harry that comes down the just for bragging rights. Can you imagine if there was a price like $2 billion attached to seeing stuff like that? You think he would do it? You think he would show it? And that is why he can't be the nominee, because he will use that as an excuse to not go on trial. I mean, this is just it's hideous how long this has gone on. Now, the other things, the January 6th case, that case is more complex. That case is, a case where you have to, so I don't know. I guess Rudy Giuliani is, cooperating, because just this week, Rudy Giuliani admitted that he defamed Shay Moss and her mom, Ruby Freeman. He admitted to it, right? And so obviously he's running scared, and I think he would probably cooperate on the January 6th thing. But the other thing that's about to happen, and this is amazing that we're talking about a president, a past president of the United States in this conversation, but we are. And this is real, okay? It's on. The other thing that is likely to happen next week is Fani Willis in the state case, in the case of Georgia, and Donald Trump trying to, create a slate of fake electors. She's charging him, and I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it's going to be next week, because next week is the first week of August, and she has asked the court for to be on notice that her office will be working remotely for the first 3 weeks in the month of August, and that they should clear the calendar in the court for charges that she is likely to bring in the first 3 weeks of August. So that's coming, right? And that, I think, is going to be a RICO case. I've said that from the beginning, right? Racketeering, influence, corrupt organization case, because she's got a multi-state conspiracy. We obviously know about Georgia because that's on tape, but now we know that she's spoken to Arizona governor. She's spoken to the Michigan governor. She spoke to the Michigan Secretary of State, Joycelyn Benson. She has talked to, multiple states about their fake elector schemes, about, who was addressing their legislature, who was addressing their governor. Rudy Giuliani's name keeps popping up everywhere. And it seems like Rudy Giuliani might be a cooperating witness at this point. We know Mark Meadows seems to have entered into some sort of an agreement with regard to what, the testimony that's available about what Trump was doing on January 6th and who Trump was coordinating with prior to January 6th. And it's just so interesting that the people that probably dropped the dime on, authenticating this Iran battle plan in the, documents case are Mark Meadows' ghostwriters, right? So it's like this small little circle of people around Donald Trump. And I think a lot of them are terrified that they're going to go down with his, his 77-year-old ship. And they're not done living. They're not done with their life. Rudy's lost his law license. I mean, that's a fact. I don't know if, Sidney Powell's going to ever, meet the bar of justice. I don't know what's going to happen to John Eastman. But it could all be included in the January 6th charges, or it could all be included in Fani Willis's case, or both. And the thing about Fani Willis's case is that is sort of insurance against if Donald Trump would ever be given the awesome power of the presidency ever again with which to shield himself from federal pen situation, from the federal pen territory that he's obviously headed to. Because Fani Willis is a state case, and I think we all learned this the hard way because Donald Trump was president of the United States, that a president of the United States can't do anything about state charges because federalism. And so there's always that chance, that case, that scenario where the only case that survives is hers, right? And he can't make that go away. He can't. So that's sort of the insurance case. But the idea that this country would be subjected to anything more of his, do you know anything more? Any of his lies, any of his campaign? Now, tonight, I don't know if you are paying like real strict attention to the schedule for the GOP primaries, but tonight is the Lincoln Day dinner in Iowa. And while Donald Trump says that he shouldn't have to be bothered by the crowded field of wannabes, never will be's, because he is obviously the commandant, the commander, the prize of the GOP, right? He's the only person that should, that will get the nomination. Nobody else can outdo him. Nobody else can outpoll him. Nobody else can get more votes than he can. His base is going to show up for him. And so why should he stand on a stage in a crowded field and be questioned in front of these other, never will be wannabes? Why should he? Well, tonight he's going to be. Tonight he agreed to do it. Tonight, Donald Trump will be on stage in a rare appearance with Ron DeSantis, with I think Chris Christie is going to be there. All the Tim Scott's there, the only black Republican, right? Tim Scott is in Iowa right now. And so he's going to be on a stage with the very crowded field. And Ron DeSantis and Tim Scott, who are running second and third to Donald Trump, they'll all be there with Donald Trump in a very... Now, I really hope Chris Christie's there. I really do, because as unappealing as it is to, think that Chris Christie could be president of the United States of America when he will not take a stand on freedom for women. He will not. He said, well, you can't really have, the federal government deciding whether or not women are actually free in this country. You can't. You have to leave it to the states, which I think is disgusting. But if Chris Christie is on the stage tonight, he's the only person that is going to tell the truth about Donald Trump's lawlessness and Donald Trump's unsuitability and Donald Trump's, reason for wanting to be president at 77 again. And it's just to shield himself. It's to use the presidency as a giant shield against, having to go to the federal penitentiary. But I hope he's there. I do. But, DeSantis is trying to restart his, disgusting, disgraceful, stalled campaign. I don't think that's going to happen, But people are responding to, they like Tim Scott. They think the evangelicals like Tim Scott. They think he's a real guy. They think that there's nothing negative coming out of him. They think that, he's willing to talk about slavery wasn't a good thing for black people by any stretch. And that's enough for them. That's enough.
Mary had a little lamb. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America. From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe me. Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
The U.S. economy is in way better shape than just about anyone predicted a year or two ago. Way better shape even than under previous presidents, both Republican and Democratic. So let me break it down for you today. Let's look at 5 key economic areas: jobs, manufacturing, growth, inflation, and wages. First up, jobs. The unemployment rate fell to 3.6% in June. It's now been under 4% for 17 straight months.
Jeez.
That hasn't happened in more than half a century, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Employers added an average 314,000 jobs a month this year through May, plus another 200,000 last month. That's almost 2 million new jobs in the economy this year alone. In Donald Trump's 4 years in office, the economy lost nearly 4 million jobs. Yeah, but that just means Biden is benefiting from a post-pandemic bounce back, right? Wrong. We actually got all the pandemic jobs back by last summer of 2022.
Right.
And in the 12 months since, we've added almost 4 million new jobs on top of that.
On top of that. Nice. Just saying. I mean, listen, the idea that, Donald Trump sucks all the oxygen out of the room is obviously true, because he's such a criminal, because he's so disloyal to his country that it's breathtaking, really, to think that we had a president of the United States who really, really hated this country enough to sell it out, enough to sell, battle plans or show battle plans to strangers, people he didn't even know, enough to actually get his son-in-law $2 billion in a private equity fund when his son-in-law has absolutely zero experience in private equity. He's just he's an heir. He's a guy who inherited, just like Donald did, a real estate empire from his daddy, who also went to prison. Charles Kushner, Jared's dad, went to prison. So, the dirty deeds that they did, the selling out of our national security, of our country's secrets, of our, people who are, the sources of this information, who risk their lives, the troops that we send into harm's way. He spits on every last one of them. And not only does he do it privately in this manner, but he actually says out loud that the people who serve in the military are suckers and losers. He actually says that. And people still are mesmerized by the cult leader, because it is a cult. It truly is. Carrie Lake, she's, I don't know. She doesn't understand that she lost, and she really does think she's the governor of Arizona. And she's living, swear to God, she's living at Magaloco. You know that? Yeah. It's really sick and twisted. It's like, one of those, weird cults that you see a movie about, years later with Lati Do and Lati Da, and, or a bunch of people drinking Kool-Aid in Guyana. You know what I mean? It's like one of those that I'm telling you, this movie, depending on who handles it, and what they choose to that there could be more than one, like the Vietnam War. There could be more than one movie about, there were so many Vietnam movies.
I was just thinking, what if Ken Burns decides to do a documentary about the Trump
No. I'm
presidency?
talking about like Apocalypse Now, Heart of Darkness, like that treatment versus, Full Metal Jacket versus the Kubrick treatment. There's so many different ways to talk about the Trump presidency. It's almost like, war upon us, like Vietnam was. It's almost like one of those deals where, depending on who the director is or who the actors are or what the script is, if we ever end the writer's strike, and we can actually go to production again of, something other than Barbie and Oppenheimer, which everybody's already seen. Next!
Barbenheimer.
Yeah, everybody's seen both of them. So we're all done. America Ferraro, she gets the win. She gets the win for the best monologue in the last, 2 weeks. And as a lover of monologues, got to give a hat tip to America. But honestly, this is going to be one of those crazy topics that never goes away. So one of the treatments that the Trump story could get is that story of the cult, the story of just even Carrie Lake alone. Or, what is a job interview? This is how I would open up my movie, just saying. So I would open up with the job interview at Magaloco to be, like the valet. And, the question is, are you willing to do overtime, but are you willing to do jail time for this man? Right? Because that's the entry level thing, and a voiceover. All my life, I wanted to be a gangster kind of, you know what I mean? Because, when he talks in that video clip to the people that are sitting around the table and he's showing them the super secret, no foreign eyes, top secret war battle plans for Iran. Right? He's saying, this is him. This is him. Meaning this General Milley, he was planning a war in Iran. Listen, we have plans for war against anybody and everybody on the shelf somewhere in the Department of Defense, right? In the Pentagon. Because you never know. Like Saudi Arabia did attack us on 9/11, although everybody conveniently likes to forget that 15 of the 19 hijackers were Saudis. Okay. So we have all these contingency plans, right? Anyway, he's sitting there showing this to complete and utter strangers and not even thinking about the national security of this country. How do you handle a story like that? How do you do that? But when you listen to that tape, he sounds to me like, you know that scene in Goodfellas where Pesci is at his mother's house, and like it's the middle of the night, and they have just killed Billy Batts, and he's in the trunk of the car, right? And so they stop on their way from upstate New York. They stop, or they're going to upstate New York, and they stop at his mom's house to get something to eat and to get a knife. Why? So that they could chop him up, right? And so they stop, and his mother wakes up, and it's, Scorsese's mom. I mean, this is a brilliant scene, right? And so, he goes in there, and she goes, what are you doing home? What are you doing home? And he goes, oh, Ma, go back to sleep. Go back. She goes, no, I can't. Not while he's here. I never see him. I don't see him. I have to. Would you like something to eat? And they all sit at the table and they're talking and they're eating. And she's got tons of. This woman lives alone and she's got food for 12 people. I don't know. Anyway, it's a very stereotypical thing. But she's sitting. They're sitting there and he's telling his mother, Pesci is telling his mother, Mom, don't make any more religious paintings, right? And they pull out a picture of a guy that isn't a religious painting. It's an older man, and he's in a boat. He's got a whole head of white hair, and there's a dog going east and a dog going west. And Pesci says, I like this one. I like this one. So you look at the guy. You got a dog going this way and a dog going that way. And look, he's got a nice head of white hair. Oh my God, it's him. It's him. Meaning the guy in the painting that his mother painted looks like Billy Batts, the dead guy, or the almost dead guy, in the trunk of their car. And they all start laughing. They go, yeah, it's him. It's him. Well, when Donald Trump says on that tape, it's him, meaning it's Millie that put together this plan to it. That's who he sounds like. He sounds like he's, see what I mean? And so it just depends on who handles the story. And there will be more than one Trump movie. There will be. So now we're going to have to find like many Trumps. Like, I was thinking Brendan Fraser, from The Whale. Like fat Brendan Fraser, because I think he lost all the weight after The Whale. But, he needs to, pork up again, and he could be, a good Donald Trump, I thought. Right? John Goodman, but he also lost a ton of weight. He looks a little gaunt now, because it's post-weight loss. And, when you lose the weight late in life, you got to have circumferential body lifts. That's kind of what it is. But anyway, this is culty.
Now, the top of the hour on Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
We're here today to talk about rebuilding our nation's infrastructure. Isn't it about time? We will once again rediscover our heritage as a manufacturing nation.
But in fact, it's Joe Biden who's getting America, to borrow a phrase, to build back better. Yes. Employment in U.S. manufacturing is at its highest level since George W. Bush was president. 800,000 new jobs.
Wow.
And $200 billion in new investments by manufacturers, fueled by Biden's new spending via the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, and the CHIPS and Science Act.
Yes.
In fact, in a research note last week, the well-known socialist institution Morgan Stanley wrote that Biden's Infrastructure Act is driving a boom in large-scale infrastructure led by manufacturers and builders. More new roads and new homes are being constructed. In fact, Morgan Stanley says Biden's economic policies have proven so strong that the bank was forced to revise its own estimates of U.S. growth upward.
Oh, yeah. So somebody actually promised infrastructure week every week and never delivered any week or any infrastructure jobs. And somebody else said, all right, I got this, and did. 800,000 new jobs in manufacturing alone. We were telling you this yesterday, and the idea that our economy is, just percolating. It's doing great. Wages are increasing faster than inflation. Inflation is way down. It's down to 3%, right? You got 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. Those are jobs that pay better than $23, $25 an hour, okay? Those are real, jobs that don't require college degrees. Those are, the kind of jobs that America has been threatening to create, all through the Trump presidency, and just never got around to it because he was too busy selling out the United States and bamboozling you. Really sad, really sick. But by every single measure of a decent economy. We surpassed decent, and we're good. We're better than any other G7 nation in this world. G7 meaning 7 of the most economically advanced countries on the planet. That's the G7. And we recovered from the pandemic better and faster and bigger than any of those. Right. And it's all due to the things that Joe Biden said he was going to get done when he was campaigning for president. He was going to do the Chips and Science Act to build semiconductors here in the United States and fix our terrible supply chain, which relies on China in a pandemic scenario. It didn't work. And so he was like, okay, we get it. The supply chains were frazzled. They were broken. They didn't work when you had a global thing happen. America can't rely on foreign countries any longer. Also, the idea that good paying jobs are happening over there and not over here, that's unconscionable too. So let's kill two birds with one great bill, with one stone of a bill, the Chips and Science Act. And let's make semiconductors here in the United States. Let's put people in the United States with no college degree, that would be me, to work at, really high-paying, good jobs. And that's what he did. Then we got the infrastructure, the Build Back Better, right? And, the Republicans were so against that. They were so, oh my God, and the Inflation Reduction Act. Why? That was anathema. That was poison. That was going to rob us, steal us blind. Why would we do? And they pared it back and pared it back and pared it back, and we did get some of it done. And it made the largest down payment on green energy, on climate, on clean cars, and building charging stations across our highway system. All these things that the fossil fuel donors were against us having, us doing, us making, us building. And it turned out to be a boon for the economy. Who knew? We did. We knew. And so that's all getting buried under the, crazy cult-like leader who is, constantly breaking the law and being charged with even more and more, crimes. I mean, it's stunning, right? You have, it's like one of the shows this week, we called it Day and Night, because that's what these presidencies are. You have the daylight presidency of Joe Biden, and you have the turn out the lights and let the cockroaches run wild in this country. Let me steal in the chaos that I create kind of president. But I've never seen, Donald Trump has to be the worst president we've ever had, and Joe Biden could very well be the best president we've ever had, meaning, since FDR, okay? Because for me, for my money, there's a handful of great ones. George Washington, why? Because he relinquished power peacefully, and he was the first guy to show you how to do that. Okay, slave owner too. So you gotta temper some of the greatness of the George with some of the really heinous parts of the George. Then you get to the really great ones. FDR, a great one, just a great one. New Deal, tried to, start the civil rights conversation in this country, won and fought against fascism, beat back fascism, integrated the military, did a lot of, really, really cutting edge, never seen before, never done before things. And then we knew how to do those things. And see, that's the thing. The reason why FDR, for me, is one of the great ones is because he did things that we'd never seen done before. But now, see, since FDR, we know how to do them. And we've been talking ourselves out of doing them ever since. Saying, investing in the United States, investing in people, investing in electrification of the Tennessee Valley, or investing in, roads and bridges, which Eisenhower obviously, actually made real, is not the best way to go. What we really should be doing is giving all the money to the very tippy top, and it will trickle down to you eventually. And that's the way we ought to do it. And we've ever since FDR and Eisenhower, that's how they turned all this success on its head. And they've been doing it ever since. And here's Joe Biden saying, I'm old enough to remember how you do it. Not original thought, but I can get it done. And then he does it. Makes him a great one. Makes him a really, really great one. So That's where you have to stop for a deep breath. You have to stop for a moment. You have to look around you. You have to understand that we have had just now the worst president in the history of this country. And we've had some really bad ones. I mean, we've had, presidents that have, actually named things Indian Removal Act. Actually named genocide. We've had, Buchanan. We've had some really bad ones. Some really, Andrew Johnson. We've had some really disgraceful presidents. Really hideous ones. We've had, Teapot Dome scandal. We've had some scandals. We had Richard Nixon, who broke into the Democratic National Committee headquarters, tried to cover it up. And from that, we all said, the cover-up is worse than the crime. Well, not here. It's not. The crime here is so bad. The cover-up is heinous, too. But the crime here is worse than the cover-up, because the crime here is espionage. The crime here is insurrection. The crime here is overturning the will of the American people. The crime here are crimes against the country, against the nation, not against, your competition or your challenger. No, it's against your nation. That's why the crime is worse.
To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Okay, everybody, it's $5 Friday. You know what that is, right? That means that if you give $5 recurring every single month to Free Speech TV to show your support for independent media that doesn't take any political money, media that doesn't take any commercial money, no advertiser money. It's just here for you and supported by you, for you, right? If that's the thing that you think needs supporting and you're willing to put $5 behind that thought, please do it today, because it's $5 Friday. And, we'll send you a mystery box if you're one of the first 50 people to do it, to put a $5 recurring donation on the line at freespeech.org or by dialing 877-378-8669 or by texting FSTV to 44321. If you do that, and you're one of the first 50 people to do it, we'll send you a mystery box. I don't know what's in it, honestly, but it's always something good. Last time I think it was tote bags. I got 2, and they're really nice ones. They're soft, they're big, they're pretty. I love the tote bags that Free Speech makes, but I don't know what's in this mystery box. And if you'd like a shot at a mystery box, but you already give $5, then hence on $5 Friday, if you increase your donation by $5, then you will also be eligible. You see how that goes. So thank you very much for your support on $5 Friday from Free Speech TV. Brother David.
It's frying fricasseed Fahrenheit 451 $5 Friday, sister.
Yes, you bastard.
Just saying. What can I say?
I think I wore you out on hold or something. You sound fried yourself.
Well, it was 111 at noon here today in Lawrence, and it's gone down to a balmy 104.
Ah, you're in Kansas. Oh, my God.
Yes, my work in Michigan is done.
Ah.
Big Gretch has a national profile. Mallory McMorrow will almost certainly be running for Senate.
Well,
I could not,
If you were slightly responsible for that, congratulations. She's awesome. She's an amazing governor, truly.
Oh, yeah, she's the best. And you watch, she'll be there. But the trans kids and Governor Kelly and, I go where I'm needed. Word to everything you've said today. The It movie needs to be a whole bunch of movies. And Catherine Bigelow and Scorsese, ! And Gus Van Sant and Aaron Sorkin, and yes, Greta Gerwig and Christopher Nolan.
I was going to say, where's Gerwig in your list of
they all need to do it at the various stages, because we ain't seen nothing yet, sister. It's mountainous malfeasance, as I said to the chat room. Hi, chat room.
Hi.
And its thing has always been to just keep kicking the legal can down the road.
Yeah, it's delay.
Delay. But if they start log jamming, It is, I never thought in a million years I'd be rooting for a Republican debate for Chris Christie or even Ron DeSantis.
I know.
Anybody.
I know.
Of course.
I do. And, I'm going to have to vote in the Republican primary in Florida. And, the idea of having to vote for one of them is really repugnant. But I would probably settle on, like a guy like Will Hurd or something like that.
Thank you.
Right. But I mean, honestly, we can't let this man be the GOP nominee because it will delay the trial even further.
Precisely. And we got more coming up. The indictments are never going to stop because it's mountainous. Meanwhile, there are something like 10 Senate seats that are flippable away from the Democrats, and the House must be retrieved.
Oh, God.
It's just that simple. Nothing simple about it, and that's why we have to rally around President Poppenshe, who must be protected at all costs, because guess what? It's working.
Yeah, it is working. And, listen, the idea that they are serious about anything, solving any of our problems, is a joke. I mean, it's just that in and of itself is hysterically funny to me, that they're serious about anything at all. I mean, yesterday I was talking about, poor Dianne Feinstein, but she's 90, enough already, okay? It's elder abuse at this point.
It's totally elder abuse.
Mitch McConnell actually had a TIA or some sort of mini stroke, on the TV.
I think that's exactly what he had. You bet.
It's time, everybody. It's time. We need a change in leadership. We need a change in the people. Because how in the world do you think that Dianne Feinstein or Mitch McConnell or Paul Gosar or Lauren Boebert are of the caliber to solve the issues around things like artificial intelligence or are willing to, stake their claim on women deserve privacy too,
Precisely.
I mean, come on. This is crazy.
There's still more of us. Well, now that more of us needs to rally ourselves around because this really is, it's ground zero, kids. And we have a year.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
That's it.
Gorgeous girdles for everyone.
Mwah. Love you.
Mwah.
Bye. Lawrence, Kansas, 104. Oh, my God. Can I just tell the trolls that are on Twitter who are trying to get me to answer them? But, I just refuse anymore ever since they changed the name. That, the management's not good. So I don't go there anymore. It's like, ever since they changed chefs and the portions are too small, like that. But they're on there, putting up weather reports saying how it was hotter on a certain day in 1936 than it is. The idea that weather is climate is very funny to me. Very funny when these people do that crap. So, like I said, those people are not serious people. Those people are not going to solve any of our problems, whether your problem is creating new jobs or your problem is climate change or your problem is privacy rights for all people, or your problem is, bullying young children because you disagree with their emotional health being preserved, or because, whatever it is. I promise you, they're not interested in solving your problem. They are not interested in artificial intelligence, understanding it, how to legislate about it, how to encourage it, but not conflate it with human intelligence. Do you know what I'm saying? They don't understand what a sentient human being is. They have no earthly idea. And yet, they continue to go on and on and on in the Senate. Hey, listen, I want to show you something. First of all, let me just play this because it's up, okay? Just because I have it already. But this is 13 seconds long. But it's Fox News. Fox News. This is Fox Business, where Maria Bartiromo toils, okay? Where some of the most staunch conspiracy theorists toil for money every day.
2.4%. Wow. This is the first read, the advanced read for second quarter GDP. Estimate was only for 1.8%. Talk about a strong economy. There goes that recession talk, right?
There goes that recession talk, right? Bye. That's Fox Business. Okay, so the economy is doing really well when Fox Business has to actually admit, there goes the recession talk. Growth is, we got another quarter of growth instead of, 2 quarters of negative growth, which would be a recession. We're getting more quarters of growth. And the growth is getting bigger. It's growing. The growth is growing, which is not good in cancer, but wonderful. wonderful in GDP. You see what I mean? So, but I when I come back, I want to play you Paul Gosar. Being serious. Paul Gosar.
To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Biden's national drug control strategy is 150 pages. The words God and faith are not mentioned one time. People need a purpose to be happy. To quote Robert F. Kennedy, I know that's awful hard, quote, unemployment kills, end of quote. The left offers endless benefits. In other words, dependency, because dependent population votes for the providers of those benefits. But a human being needs a purpose, a good job, the ability to provide for a family, a belief in a creator in order to be happy.
First of all, what's with the hair doozy, okay? And I'm no one to talk about hair doozies, okay, because I know a lot of people hate mine. But what is going on with him there? And then he has the nerve to say that in Joe Biden's anti-drug, his drug control strategy is 150 pages long and it doesn't mention God. Paul, the Bible is 1,200 pages long and it doesn't mention oxycodone or fentanyl anywhere in it. What is wrong with people? Why does everything have to? Because they're Christian white nationalists, which is, this is a term of art. White Christian nationalism. It sounds like something pro-American, but it's not. Okay, it's fascism. And it's fascism wrapped up in a name that could kind of, if you were sort of high or kind of drunk or sort of, you had some sort of impediment somewhere along, it could sound okay. Like Tommy Tuberville thinks it's okay. He thinks that's American. No, it's fascism. Christian white nationalism supposes that only Christians and white people are worthy of being Americans, and that is anti-American because we're a nation of immigrants. Hello. But anyway, that's some sick stuff over there. That's how unserious these people are. It's an amazing thing that they literally went home. I don't know if you know this either, but you need to know this. The House of Representatives, Congress itself, is going on a 6-week recess. 6 weeks. Okay? They won't be back until September. See you in September, everybody. And they did not complete the appropriations bills. They have not completed their work on basic functions of government. They have not appropriated the money that is required to keep the government running. And they do this over and over and over and over again. Then they'll come back in September and they will have 12 days. 12 days to meet the burden of paying for the government. And they will threaten us with another shutdown. They will threaten us with another work stoppage. They will threaten us with, air traffic controllers not being able to go to work. They will threaten us yet again. And now is when they were supposed to be doing this work. And they refused to do it.
Funding our government is our basic job. The comments from the GOP conference about how we could go into a MAGA shutdown and it wouldn't matter are outrageous. The last time we had a shutdown, it was $11 billion out of this economy. And don't talk to us about standing for veterans when the GOP was the ones that have cut veterans' housing, has cut their health care, has said to our women, our active women, military women, said it is okay to ask our military women to fight. You have said to our active duty women that it is okay to fight for freedom for our country, but we are going to take your freedom away. That is not okay.
So what she said in the end was that they had 12 appropriations bills. Those of you who follow government know that every year we have 12 bills that need to get passed. And they appropriate money for everything from defense to the agriculture department to FEMA, you name it, right? And they don't want to do their work. They don't want to do their work. They are not serious people, okay? And if you're looking toward the Republican Party to do the business of governing, you're looking in the wrong place. You're looking in the wrong place. What is Kevin McCarthy talking about now? What are they discussing as a way forward? Certainly not the appropriations bills. Certainly not funding the Department of Agriculture, which pays for food stamps. Certainly not, funding FEMA, which needs to be at the ready now that we're coming into hurricane season, right? And it's 101 degrees in the ocean water off of Florida. I mean, this is so unconscionable, unacceptable, but it's them. They're not serious. You know what they're talking about, right? They're talking about impeaching Joe Biden. And you ask Kevin McCarthy, what are you impeaching him for? He said, well, that's why we need an inquiry. What? Yeah, we need an inquiry because that's when the government powers are at its apex. And we need to use the government powers in order to figure out and find something, anything, for God's sake, that we can impeach Joe Biden about. They can't find anything because Joe Biden hasn't broken the law. His son has, but he hasn't. I mean, this is so bizarre. This is so unserious. This is so deadly and dangerous. And especially now with, obviously, the global warming, the heating up of the oceans, hurricane season, everything. It's like the trifecta of doom. And they are so willing to let damage be done so that they can impede the economic prowess of Joe Biden and his bills and his laws. When you shut down the government, you lose economic activity, you lose money. And they'll try anything at all to besmirch Joe Biden's economic record because they can't compete with it. They have nothing to show for it. They have nothing for, 4 years of Donald Trump. They have one bill that literally redistributed the wealth back to the top again and produced no growth. In fact, we ended up losing 4 million jobs. And because Donald Trump said COVID was a hoax, we lost 1 million American lives. And we weren't in a position to do anything, to recover. Joe Biden came along and said, okay, everybody, go get a vaccine. We're going to distribute it. It's free. Go get it. Those that don't want it don't have to get it. No mandate. Just go. Go and see if you could get herd immunity. Go see if you can get vaccinated. Go see, and let's all get back to work. Let's do this, and let's pass the Recovery Act and get some money in everybody's pocket. By the way, if you're noticing that your food stamp money is less than it used to be, it's because the COVID emergency spending is over. It's over. And they haven't even funded the Department of Agriculture who pays for food stamps. And McCarthy is very busy telling you that not only does he want to spend less on food stamps, not only do they want to spend less on Medicaid, not only do they want to spend less on poor people, but they want to spend even less than they said they did. That's why they won't pass any appropriations bills. These are really, really unserious people who don't give a rat's ass about Americans. They just don't care. Because Americans find themselves in all kinds of situations all across the country and all across their lives. You go through periods of being absolutely, poor because you're taking a chance, or because you're moving, or because you're trying to find, something better than what you have. And God knows, I've done all of those things. And there have been periods in my life where I just didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. And then there are periods in my life where I had many nickels to rub together. But Americans find themselves in all different scenarios, as because sometimes you take a risk and sometimes you don't need to, and other times you do, and sometimes you need to get an education and other times you're done. Do you know what I'm saying? And they just don't care. They just don't care. These are not serious people. When they could look at deaths of despair in this country, especially Gosar from freaking Arizona, and he can say, well, I'm not passing this bill because it in 150 pages, it doesn't say anything about God. The Bible doesn't say anything about cocaine. The Bible doesn't say, not even marijuana. Doesn't mention drugs. So why should it be? I don't. And they won't even pass basic appropriations bills. Instead, they just talk about impeachment. Because it's like retribution. It's a vendetta. It's a revenge move. It has nothing to do with governing. Nothing. So have a good weekend and know the economy's good.